YouTube family. Welcome to our Happy Crappy Hour recap. I wanted to share with you today. The topic is the narcissist and the new supplier driven by emotion and not facts. And the reason we want to talk about that is because we're dealing with a lot of people who are absolutely emotional, okay? The world is going nuts right now with emotion, and you do not want to give into that. You do not want to become part of the problem. So you have to stabilize yourself. But the narcissist and the new supplier are not going to be stable. They're going to be the most emotional throughout because they are not basing their life on reality. They're basing it on a fantasy that they have to keep going. And the only way to keep it going is to continually believe the lies that they tell you and they give you in the images and in the way that they live. Right? They want to show an image of perfection and this happy life and everything's going great and they couldn't be happier. But it is far from the truth. What you're going to deal with when you're interacting with a narcissist or trying to wake up the new supply to the reality of their life, it could be a complete disaster, pipes bursting, flooding on the floors, the house is falling apart, and yet they'll pretend like they're living in a castle. They'll pretend they're living in this beautiful mansion when their life is a total shambles. So what you're going to find out when you try to interact with a narcissist and you give them the facts and you show them the pipes, you show them they're standing in water, but they'll refuse to look. Of course, this is just a metaphor I'm using, but when you show them their bank account and that they can't even pay their way when they're out, they'll still act as if, no, they're rich, they have plenty of money, it's just inaccessible right now. And to them, inaccessible just means they haven't made it yet, okay? So they want you to believe that they're living this fairy tale life. And if you should try to interject any truth into it, you'll see they will explode on you. So there's that emotion. They believe their emotion over facts. So if they believe that they're happy, they're going to want to portray that they're happy, even though they're miserable. But yeah, there are moments that they're happy, and then they want to convince others that they are. It's completely fake, and they have to keep this mirage going, this facade going, in order to feed it. Now, if you should try to give them facts or information or help them because they don't even have a job, they're like, I don't need a job. Okay, how are you paying your bills, right? They're living in this weirdly bizarre land. But today on the live stream, if you want to go there, I go into specific examples that I'm dealing with certain narcissists right now in my life. And the bottom line is, you want to be real with yourself. You do not want to be caught up the way they are in a fake life with fake information, with fake, I don't know. It's not a reality. So it cannot be sustained. And they may look happy for a while, but it doesn't last. And you want your happiness to last. You want your life to be based on something real and something good. So in order to do that, you want to be real. Oh, interesting. I see. I'm looking at some different glares in the picture here. Interesting. So you guys, today I talked about how, you want to get your facts straight. You want to examine your own life and make sure that you don't have burst pipes and you're not living in a flooded out, decrepit old house. You want to have a nice, clean place that's nurturing and a place where you can build your life. Unlike the narcissist that tears down their own life. They would rather blow up their entire home than face the truth, right? They don't want the truth. They don't want to fix things. They want to pretend that things are just perfectly fine the way they are. And there's nothing you can do to change that outlook. If you've spoken with the new supply, you can see that they're miserable, and yet they won't admit it because they're ashamed. They're ashamed to tell you that they made a mistake. They invested so much in the narcissist that now they feel like they have to stay and try to make it work. Or they just can't see that their life is worth anything without the narcissist, which is also a total lie, right? That they have to tell themselves in order to stay. They just are living in this delusion and cannot break out of it. So another thing is you want to ask them hard questions, and you want to ask yourself hard questions, right? If you don't want to become like the narcissist and the new supply, living in a crazy, terrible, messed up life, you want to ask yourself some hard questions. Like, did I do the things I said I was going to do? Am I getting myself structured in my life where I'm making lists and I'm checking off things in my list? Do I have an accountability partner? Do I have somebody who's making sure I'm staying on track? And one of the hardest things that we can do is ask somebody to give us advice about what they see in us, right? If they see something in us that they think we should improve on or could improve on, or things that we should change because it's dragging us down. Sometimes your friends, actually, a lot of times your friends and your family who are so close to you would be the best people to tell you and help you improve your life. But you can only improve it if you're willing to look at the hard truth, which is not what the narcissist or the new supply is willing to do. That's why they censor people or cut people out of their life. They will label people as, horrible people. They'll be told that you can't trust these people who are telling you the truth, actually, right? They're telling the narcissist the truth on how they're behaving, that it's awful, that they're driving people away, and they shouldn't be so mean. But they're not going to hear that. All they're going to hear is that you're criticizing them. And therefore, they're going to project onto you, no, you're the mean one. It's not me. I'm not the one who's being mean, even though they're the ones like throwing a fit and never considering other people's other people's feelings or obligations that they've made with other people, and they'll ignore those and drop those, and it won't even matter to them. So the bottom line is you don't want to be like the narcissist and the new supply who are clinging desperately to an illusion. Instead, you want to clear out any illusions you might have and face reality, because it's in reality that you're going to build a tremendous life. That's where you're going to build really good, solid relationships. Without reality in your life, you're not going to be able to build a good relationship because you're living in a fantasy, right? So there are many people who are wondering, why is it I can't build a relationship? Why can't I find the right guy or the right girl? Well, you have to ask yourself the hard question. Are you being real with them? And not just negatively real. Let's say you are very negative and things are going badly in your life. The first thing you need to do is ask yourself, well, what is it that I'm not doing that I should be in order to clean up my life? Or what is it that I am doing that's messing up my life? I need to cut that out. I need to stop that. So ask yourself the hard questions. Another thing that you need to do is allow other people to speak into your life. Get advice, right? Listen to people. Even if it sounds, even if it's hard, and especially because if it's true, it's going to be hard. Life is not all about, oh, you're wonderful, you're perfect, there's nothing wrong with you. Everybody should just accept you the way that you are, even though that is the cultural message right now. But when you look around, people don't really live that out, do they? They look at other people and they complain, they criticize, they say what's wrong with all these other people, and yet they expect everybody else to accept them the way they are. Do you see that? That's how narcissists and the new supply live. They cannot see reality. You can't reason with them. You can't even use that logic I just told you. You can't use that with them. How it's being hypocritical when they're criticizing other people, and yet they want everybody to accept them the way they are. So the best thing for you is to identify those parts of your life where you feel like this is off limits. No one can tell me about my weight, right? No one can tell me about my dirty house, you know, that I don't keep a nice clean space. No one can tell me that I drive like a maniac. No one can tell me that I'm rude, you know, because they need to accept me the way I am. Well, if you live that way, you're going to drive everybody away from you, just the way the narcissist and the new supply do. They drive people away because they cannot hear them. They can't change. They don't know. They refuse, actually, to change. And if you hold to that, just like they do, you're going to destroy your life as well. So don't do that, right? You want to be able to be flexible. You know how they talk about an oak tree will break in a storm, but a willow tree will bend. And then because it bends, it doesn't get destroyed in a storm. And that's how you want to be. In the storm of your life where things are bad and looking really dreary, you want to be flexible enough to change so that you can build a great and beautiful life. Well, you guys, that was my show. The recap actually is a lot different than the show because in the live stream I go through a lot of details. So if you want to check that out, go ahead over there. It should be in the description, the link, if you want to go there. And I will talk to you next week. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, and watch a commercial once in a while. And I will see you next week.